Namaskar, welcome. I have the pleasure of the presence of Dr. Nitin Saraswat, who manages to think on his feet, or the way he has contemplated on the essence of our being and working towards not just finding proper system to move forward for himself, but also sharing that in multiple ways. So now, as I'm in the frame with Swami Vivekananda, about whom Rabindranath Tagore said, if you want to know India, read Vivekananda. Everything about him, everything in his literature is positive, nothing negative about him. And if before I come to you, also recollect somewhere Vivekananda said that each soul is potentially divine, and the difference is of the degree of manifesting the divinity within. Now, having said that from Swami Vivekananda, what is your take on if I use the term आस्था या जो faith है, how how do you define it, and is it something that you are born with, or it is something that you work and cultivate or develop within?
Thank you, Shokji. And I think it's a very relevant point. We have to understand the difference between faith and the tradition. Sometimes we mistake faith and tradition, and that is why youth chooses not to connect to faith at times. So, faith, as the word says, is ability to believe. And the ability to believe can never be something which is old fashioned. Because sometimes a mistake that is made by the youth is that because they are born rebellious, so they start rebelling against the tradition, the values that have been given by the family, and they mistake it with faith. No, faith is your anchor. Whenever your life is going through a turmoil, you need a connection that is kind of a recharge. That is faith. So, where the faith comes from, when you start acknowledging that there is a universal power and a universal mind which is wiser than what you know, there is a power that can control what you cannot control. And whenever you are in doubt and whenever you are facing a difficult moment, you go there for your solace and to find the power to handle things. That is faith. And I believe every youth must try to find faith within. And that is where you start connecting with faith. You may choose any faith, or you may choose a faith without a name. It doesn't have to be a religion. You can start meditating on a universal mind, on a universal power. But remember, people will faith will not commit suicide. People will faith may tumble upon, they may feel down, but they never feel that they are defeated and finished. So it is must to connect to a faith. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nitinji. And since you have talked about anchor and faith, and of course, again, I sit at the feet of Swami Vivekananda, who said that there could be infinite ways or path to reach the infinite. And I think this is quite liberating, and it kind of resonates with what you just said. We ultimately, you have to discover that specific, distinct design of your way of creating that anchor within. If in general, would you like to share some pointers? Let's say if someone listening to you feels that what you he just heard from he she just heard from Nitinji makes sense, but how to go about doing it? Can you throw some light on that?
And this, the first point is understanding I am not everything. I'm just a very tiny part of this complete system, whatever you call it. The ecosystem that we are born with, even a small fly has a role in it. And it cannot be just randomly run. There is some power which runs everything around us. You call it a power, you don't call it a name, no problem. If there is something which is in you, but it is still untapped. So you don't when you sit in meditation, spending time with yourself is the second thing. So first, recognizing there is a power that is not you in this form. Second, understanding that power has to be coming from inside me, but that power is it can come only when I can connect with myself, and to connect with myself I have to spend time with myself. That is called meditation. So meditation can start with just spending half an hour with yourself. Sometimes people say, I cannot meditate. You don't have to. You can just sit and spend 30 minutes without your mobile, without a TV, without a book, just yourself in silence, and you can start connecting to yourself. And third, choosing a logical, rational thought system that connects you to that universal power. It may be a philosopher, it may be a religious text, or it may be your own way of connecting, but you have to connect deep inside. Or you can start going to a place of worship, which is an easier way of connecting. It's like for studying, going to a library, sit in a temple, sit in a synagogue, sit in a mosque, and just try to connect to that universal power and recharge yourself.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, once again, 12th January is birthday of Swami Vivekananda, and that is observed as National Youth Day in India. And what I would add from my 2 cents based on my own experiences, I think harmony and happiness go together sometimes. If there are conflicts within, you feel restless and your mind takes you to a flight where you have a lot of turmoil, even if you are in the company of people who are knowledgeable and you are not open, it won't have the kind of impact which would be helpful for you. So, personally speaking, when I was a teenager and I had many questions and I had certain sort of a rebel streak as most of us have as to what my mom is saying and what I observe at home, etc. I think Vivekanand came to my help and he resolved a lot of questions and I could see differently. And so I think he's a good anchor for me. He may not be for everyone, but I would highly recommend you try because it is definitely a flow of inner strength that becomes available to you when you are in close proximity. As you also said, subscribe to some thought pattern. I think the way he decoded the ancient wisdom of Bharat, it is really a great source of solace and anchor for me. And I appreciate you sharing these valuable, mm, uh, call it thoughts or your way of guiding. And if I may say, Nitin, again, quoting Vivekananda, who said, sacrifice, tyag, or seva. So, sacrifice and service are the national ideals. No, what you have attempted to share is also coming out of compassion because you want people to come out of their suffering, and these are mental sufferings which only you have to work ultimately on you. And and when you help somebody become at peace with oneself, it makes you feel good overall. You want to say something because this is what you have been doing.
Yeah, this is very correct. That if we connect to the world, if we want to connect to the world, we can just start connecting to ourselves. So by connecting to ourselves, I mean, as you said, you can read something like a philosopher. Like even in my childhood, reading Vivekanand was very helpful. So whoever you read, you can start questioning it, no problem. But question it with rationality. Like we need to feed rationality into our minds. And a rational mind can never be without a faith, because a rational mind will find it very easy to understand that there is some universal power that I need to connect to. Like Vedanta says so beautifully, that it is what you do not know and what you cannot describe, that is the Param Tattva. So, when you say Aham Brahmasmi, you are actually tapping into the real me. The Even the Jainism says the mantra, Namokar mantra of Jainism says the same thing. It says Om Namo Arihantanam. So Arihant is not a person. Arihant is a name given to anyone who has won over their indriyas. So you know,
It-
it's
the-
like we need to connect to ourselves, and even the spiritual text and the religious text can help you in it, provided you have an opening to rationally think about it. So it's all about having an opening and rationally thinking about it.
so rationality is actually necessary because otherwise you are not truly connected, and when you yourself are not truly connected, then you won't be able to apply it. So again, as we conclude, I come back to Vivekananda's way of putting it, that we don't have to run after a lot of knowledge. So he said that the whole world and all the great men, if you study them, their life is built on uh, one, two, three, four, five. Uh, so if there are top 10 principles that you pick, then if you make out of that three as a part of your life and you consistently follow through them, then you will become great. So we don't have to run after everything. We have to apply. And again, we conclude with this quote: the highest manifestation of strength is to keep ourselves calm and on our own feet. So that's what you have said in your own words. And I appreciate really, really very much. And I wish we all uh, figure out a way of having that anchor and enjoy the bliss within in our own unique way as per our temperament and our nature. So, with lots of good wishes, and thank you very much, Nitinji.
Thank you.
Namaste.